Hi, so today I'm going to show you, Karen and Michael, and anyone else who may be viewing this, what I've been working on for the last 6 months. This is going to be a monthly report. Main screen you're going to be seeing. You could call it a menu if you want. It's not really a menu, but close enough. I do want to replace this with a nice logo of yours if you have one, so you can send that to me. But anyway, this is what it's going to be. First, I'm just going to go through each one of these entries up here on the bar and just explain what each thing does, and then I'm going to actually do an import and actually run a report, which is what you wanted to see. But first, let's do some things to show you for this. Okay, so the file exit is obvious. I'm not going to go through that. So on this edit screen, there's 4 different types of definitions. One is the import definition, and this tells the system what files we're going to import. Okay, there's 3 files: the NTSP, the SDP, and the TSP. And the only thing you have to know about these is that I need them in CSV format. In the past, you've been giving them to me in XLS format, but I need them in CSV format. And hopefully that won't be a problem, because the program needs to just read everything as text and then put it in the proper format in the files. So this is just telling it to grab these 3 files from the import folder, and it's going to be putting it in this work import table. You don't have to do anything with this. I'm just showing it to you just so you know everything that's on here. The next one is the table build definitions, and this is what the system will go through to actually take the data from the files you provide and put it in the proper files for the system. Again, you don't have to do anything here. This is just a place where all the queries and all the creates, etc. are listed. So again, nothing for you to do here. Next one is the report definitions, which is the meat of the system. This is where all the queries are written. There's hundreds of these, as you can see as I'm flipping through, for each report that we did, which monthly financial sales summary. These are just some of the queries that had to be done to provide the data for the Excel sheet. So again, nothing needs to be touched here. If you do touch something, it could mess up something along the way. I mean, something may need to be fixed, or may need to be changed at some point. I may ask you to go into a certain, say, person here and change something. Again, a lot of this is very person specific, as your spreadsheets are. They have their own tabs, they have their own columns, etc. So it's very specific to all these people. If any one of these change, it's going to require a change in any of the queries that it was looking for their names. So these are the important queries. Again, this shouldn't be touched at all. You shouldn't have to do anything with these. And what this does is it takes the answer from the query and populates it into fields, rows actually, on the spreadsheet. Starts at column 4 and starts at column 4, and goes row 67. So it goes to a specific row it starts, and it populates across, like in this case, 8 fields. So you'll see how that works in a minute. The next one we're going to go to is Excel templates. Now these are the 4 templates that I have, and these templates, I'll show you this one for example, are nothing but the Excel sheet you gave me with no data on it, but all the formatting is there, all the colors are there, and what the queries do is they populate these fields with the data, just like you would manually. This does it automatically, which is exactly what you wanted. So I'll show you after it runs that everything will get populated. So that's pretty much the edit. You don't have to do anything there. There is another tool on the tools. There's options. This is where it's going to pick everything up from. So there's an import data folder under this directory structure. These will all get created when you install it, but I'm just showing you. There's a template where the templates are. The report data is where the final reports go. The import data is where the data gets imported from, those 3 files. And the DB reports is the actual database, the access database. Again, nothing to do here. This is just the way it's set up. You can change where, say, the access database is going to be, but I think this is kind of default where we put it. So those are the key options here. Now the run import build is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be running the import build for each month, then running the reports. Before I show you that, no, that's good. I'll show you this now. So the run import build, just give it a second. This is what you're going to do each month. First thing is to get those 3 files into the import directory, and TSP, the TSP and the SDP in CSV format. They just need to be sitting there. This program is going to pick them up and process them according to what it said in the import build. Now already I did January 1 is, calendar month January, fiscal year 7, fiscal month 7. So the next month I'm going to import, which is ready to go, is February 2014. All you have to do is click on this, press to run batch, and it starts running. Now I'm not going to say, it takes about 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do now, it just goes through all the steps it's going to do. And when it's done, you'll see you get a screen that says import completed successfully. So I'm just going to pause it right now, and I'm going to come back, and when it's done, then we'll continue. I do just want to point something out while this is running. This is what you're going to see on the screen. I do have to fix it so this kind of scrolls as it's going down. But as long as this progress bar up here is moving, and it does move a little slow, it means it's running. So you just kind of leave this and let it do its thing, and I'll show you when it's done what screen you get. You may think it's not doing anything, but it actually is. So you just got to let it be and let it finish. So I'm going to pause it again, and I'll continue when it's finished. Okay, so I just want to point something out here. There was an error when I was running February, and I need to rerun it. I just want to show you, you can re-import the data. Just got to go back to February, click this, and press to run batch. You're going to get this screen that comes up. You selected the run the next month, which is okay. The system will take care of that. So just click OK. Now let me explain what happened. In the SDP file, there were dashes instead of zeros, and when the program tries to put a dash into a numeric field, it got an error. Now in previous SDP files that I've gotten, there were no dashes where zero should have been. So that caused a problem here. So I had to go into the SDP file that was being imported and make all the dashes zeros. Now it should be fine. But I just want to stress and emphasize that the data has to be correct in these files that are being imported. Otherwise, you'll get errors, and then I have to look at the data to see what's going on. But anywhere where it's supposed to be a numeric number, it should be either 0 or a numeric number. Anything else will cause it to bomb out. I also found in some of the files that I ran previous that it was missing the last column, the item vendor column, and that caused the problem. So I'm going to write this all out when I write up the instructions, but just keep in mind that all the columns have to be exact. I'm going to tell you exactly what columns you need. You can't be missing any month. Everything has to be exact for that month to run and import properly. So alright, I'm going to pause it again and continue when it's complete. Okay, so now after a couple of stops and starts, the batch run has complete, and this will be the screen that you get. You just click OK, and now February has been loaded into the system. So at this point you're done with this screen. You can close this out. Now you want to run, so now you're ready to run all the reports. So the first thing to notice is all these reports here. Now the three main ones are this financial sales summary, which I'm going to run, the SDP detail by salon combined, and the make the month reports. These other reports are just a breakout of make the month. They're copies of individual, because to make the month right now I did one big report. So these are just to break it out for each region. So when you want to run those, you just check all these boxes and they'll run. So I'm going to uncheck them right now. And I'm just going to run the make the month financial summary. Now, the other thing to see here is we already have one there. This is from last month, from January. So I want to rename this, say January, because if there's one here, it's just going to overwrite whatever it can on this report that exists here. What it does is when you run the reports, it takes this from the template folder, which I showed you before. It takes them from there, and it's going to populate the data and write the report in here. So, and this is a report folder. So what you should probably do is, once the month is done running for all the reports you want to run, is to take those reports out of this folder or rename them January, February, whatever month it is, so they won't be here. So again, if the report exists here, it's just going to take what it can. It's going to overwrite whatever's on that report. But you don't want the report from last month sitting there, and some of the data, say, will not get overridden, so it'll have old data in it. You always want to start with a fresh copy from the template. The template data is always blank. There should never be data in there, and it's always going to write to that template data. So this is how easy it is to run the report. You press to run the reports, and it's going to start it and go through a whole scheme of all the queries it's doing. Now the reason it's going to take a little longer is because I had to break up the databases and put the year-to-date files in another database, which is linking to, which just makes it take a little bit longer. But it's I'll indicate how long it's going to take. I noted the time here, so then I'll come back when this is done again and show you what screen you get. Okay, so I'm back now. So this is the screen you're going to get when the reports were created. Now if you notice, this is the report we just created. Finished at 9:09 and it started at 8:45, so it took about 20 minutes. Which I guess is not bad, considering what it probably would take you to do this manually. And here's a report all filled out. All the numbers should be filled out according to what was in the files. I'm not going to flip through everything here, but you know, this obviously needs to be verified by you just to make sure everything looks good. You know, so that's basically the report. Now this report will stay there until next month, and that's why you really should rename it. Okay, let me close this out. A couple other things I need to show you. So here's a report. So this is probably what you want to rename. So if you want to run another report like the SDP detail, you just click it, press the same thing, and it would run that report. So those are the two main reports. To make the months, obviously the first half will run from July to December. The second half will from January through June. Now to run those, I need the SDP data for the full year, as I said, so because it uses last year data. So starting next year in July, this July, I'm going to need all the SDP so I can create that file that these use for the previous year. To make the month is run once per year, I believe, and that too uses the last year's files. So those are the two main reports, and they go into this report folder. Let me show you some of the folder structure. Now this is how it's going to get installed. I put it under public documents, I guess you could put it there also. But it goes to the monthly reports. Monthly reports, this is where all the programs are. Now the import data, for simplicity's sake, I made these folders and put into each month's data that you had sent me. So if you look, like December, I didn't get the SDP, so I just got these two. But you can do it that way, or you don't have to. You could just drag it and drop it into here from whatever folder you have it in. But the important thing in import data is you need these three files in a CSV format. As I said before, it has to be comma separated, otherwise it's not going to work. And that's all you need in the import data. So you have to drag these over and put them in there each month. When it's done running, I would take these, get rid of these, so you remember, you don't run with the same files from the previous month. You always want to replace these every month. The report data is, like I said, where the actual report's going to be. So in this case, this is what's there. So this one you can rename to, like say, rename it to February. And that's that. So now next time it runs, it'll create a clean report. The template data, this is where the clean reports are, the reports with no data, but the formatted reports are here. That's about it. I wouldn't touch these. If you do make any changes to these, if you move any lines, it's going to cause the queries to not populate the correct cells, and what has to happen is the where it's starting to populate the cells would have to change. So if you do need to make any changes to these, let me know, and I have to just see what has to be done on the queries. So that's the whole file directory structure. I'm going to show you now the database. This is the Access database. This is where the data is actually kept. This is your AS400 data side, if you will. Karen knows what I'm talking about there. So this is the tables. These are the tables. There's an SDP table, sorry, import. This is what it uses. This is what the data, the CSV file puts it into this file, and then from here it goes into the actual SDP import, which is used in the queries. Okay, and it appends the actual month. This is what we just did, February 2014. So I'll put this is all that's in here now. Okay, and that's what it's going to use. Also in the TSP is a combination of the NTSP and the TSP data, and there are 291,000 records in here, and it combines the two. Again, it puts the month and date, the month and the year in there, and it uses that. And then we keep the year-to-date files and the previous year-to-date files are keep in another database, and that's why it takes a little bit longer. So, but you can look at them here. For example, the TSP year-to-date. This is everything I've run through February. Contains probably millions of records at this point. And it is going to the other database to get it. So it contains 2,240,000 records, which is accumulation of all the data for the year so far. Alright, so this is just, these are all the tables. Again, I wouldn't mess with any of these. There's some tables that, as I indicated in one of the emails, that you will have to change. I'm working on queries. I may not have it here yet. Forget that. But I'm working on queries where you can access like the plan data. You have to change this plan data. Starting in July for this coming year, so it populates the report correctly. I'm working on forms where you could do that, and I think I have some here. Like this is a form for AINAI, where I have to go by city and I have to go by region to populate this correctly. There's also domain codes, which is in one of the reports, which I'll explain later when I document everything. But I'm going to have a bunch of these forms with with the tables that you need to change or can change. It's just going to be a few of these things. I have tables in here for the headings, that'll populate the headings. These are the domain codes for one of the reports. That's how I was able to pick them out and do it. Like if any of these descriptions change or they get added, you would have to add an entry to this table. There's some for Kelly Joyner. She's a special case, and because she's all over the place in the region, so I had to do a table like this to get the data into the file. So there's a few of these things. I'll explain all that. But this is the actual database where everything's kept. This is where the queries can be run from. You can run your own queries once you get familiar with Access. You can do queries on any of these files, any of these year-to-date files, or there's no year-to-date. Yeah, we are doing a year-to-date for SDP. But you can do any kind of reporting on there. This is also where the table run reports are, the table where the detail, what I showed you before. All these tables are in here. So that's pretty much it. Whoops, I don't want to do that. Let me just do this again. You won't see this part. This is just it's just in debug mode when I'm running, but you're going to get an installation disk, obviously. And that's pretty much the system. I mean, it doesn't look like much, but a lot of work went into here to build this. So if you have any questions, you have my number. You can email me. Just look over this video, and I hope this was helpful. If you need anything else or any other further explanation with a video or anything, just let me know. Thanks.